Italy just did what France was never brave enough to do. While one nation doubted her integrity, another nation built her a legacy. Alexandra Eala lost the Italian Open final, but days later, she received something bigger than any trophy, and the tennis world still cannot believe it. Rome, Foro Italico, May 2026. The Italian Open final had just ended. Alexandra Eala lost a three-set battle against a Belarusian power player. The score was 4-6, 7-5, 6-3. She had fought for 2 hours and 43 minutes. Every point was a war. Every game was a battle. But in the end, her body gave up before her heart did. She walked to the net, shook her opponent's hand, packed her bag quietly, and disappeared into the tunnel. No racket smash, no argument with the umpire, no tears on the court. She waited until she reached the locker room. Then she sat on a bench, put her towel over her face, and cried. Her coach found her 5 minutes later. He did not say a word. He just sat next to her. Then he said, "You lost the final, but you won their hearts." Eala looked at him with red eyes. "Hearts don't give trophies," she said. Her coach smiled. "Sometimes they give you something better, something no trophy can match." The next morning, Rome was different. The city was still buzzing about the match, but they were not talking about the winner. They were talking about Eala. Italian newspapers ran headlines like "The Warrior of Manila" and "She lost, but she conquered." Sports shows played clips of her diving shots, her backhand winners, her never-say-die attitude. One Italian commentator said something that would later go viral. He said, "We Italians know a fighter when we see one. We invented the gladiator, and Alexandra Eala fought like a gladiator yesterday. She lost the battle, but won the arena." That was the moment everything changed. The Italian fans who had booed her during the quarterfinals were now praising her. They had seen something rare. They had seen a player who refused to break, even when her body was screaming. They had seen a player who smiled at her opponent after losing match point. They had seen a champion. Not a champion of trophies, a champion of hearts. Eala decided to stay 2 extra days in Rome. She wanted to rest, eat pasta, see the Colosseum. She had no idea that her life was about to change forever. On the second day, her phone rang. It was her agent. His voice was shaking. "Alexandra, you need to come to the Italian Tennis Federation headquarters tomorrow morning. The president is calling a press conference. He wants you there." Eala asked why. The agent said, "I don't know, but it is big, very big. Just be there." That night, Eala could not sleep. She lay in her hotel room staring at the ceiling. What could it be? A sponsorship? An exhibition match? A small award? She never imagined the truth. She never imagined that Italy was about to give her something that France had refused to give her for months. Respect. Real respect. Public respect. Permanent respect. The next morning, she walked into the press conference hall at the Italian Tennis Federation headquarters. The room was packed. Italian journalists, international media, cameras everywhere, photographers fighting for space. She was wearing a simple white shirt, her hair tied back, no makeup except a little lipstick. She was nervous. Her father had flown in from Manila the night before. He was sitting in the front row. He gave her a small nod. That nod meant everything. It meant, "I am here. No matter what happens, I am here." Eala took a deep breath and walked to the stage. The president of the Italian Tennis Federation, Marco Ricci, was already standing behind the microphone. Next to him was the mayor of Rome, Virginia Raggi, and next to her was an empty chair. That chair was for Eala. She sat down. The room went silent. Marco Ricci cleared his throat and began to speak. And when he spoke, he said words that would be replayed on news channels across the world. Marco Ricci said, "Today, I am proud to announce that the Italian Tennis Federation, in collaboration with the city of Rome, has decided to build a brand new tennis academy. This academy will open its doors in September 2026. It will train young players from Italy, from the Philippines, and from all over the world. and we have decided to name this academy after the player who taught us what true courage looks like. The name of this academy is the Alexandra Eala Tennis Academy. The room exploded. Journalists started shouting questions. Cameras flashed non-stop. Eala sat frozen. Her hand was over her mouth. Her eyes were filling with tears. She could not believe what she was hearing. A tennis academy in Rome, named after her. A 21-year-old from the Philippines who had never even won a title in Italy, who had just lost the final, who was supposed to go home with nothing. Instead, she was going home with her name carved into Italian sports history. Mayor Virginia Raggi then took the microphone. She said, "Alexandra Eala played the most beautiful tennis we have ever seen on our clay. She lost the final, yes, but she won the hearts of every Italian who watched her. In Rome, we do not only honor winners, we honor warriors. We honor those who fight until the last point. We honor those who make us believe that anything is possible. That is why we are giving her the key to the city of Rome." She walked over to Eala and handed her a small golden key. Eala stood up. Her legs were shaking. She took the key. For a moment, she just looked at it. Then she looked at her father. He was crying. She had never seen her father cry before. Not when she won her first junior title. Not when she turned professional. Not when she made history at the French Open. But today, he was crying. And that broke her. She started crying too. Then it was her turn to speak. She walked to the microphone. The room went silent again. Everyone was waiting. She wiped her eyes, took a breath, and said, "I do not know what to say. I came here to play tennis. I did not come here for awards or recognition. I just wanted to compete. I wanted to show that a girl from the Philippines could stand on the same court as the best players in the world. I did not win the final, but you are giving me this, an academy, a key to your city. I am speechless. I will never forget this. The Philippines will never forget this. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Grazie." She bowed to the Italian officials. Then she bowed to the journalists. Then she bowed to her father. Then she sat down and cried again. The photographers captured that moment. The next morning, that photo was on the front page of every major newspaper in Italy and the Philippines. But not everyone was happy. France was watching, and France was furious. Within hours, French media went into attack mode. L'Équipe, the biggest sports newspaper in France, ran a headline that said, "Italy honors Eala while France still investigates." The article pointed out that the French Tennis Federation had still not closed its investigation into the controversial umpire call from the French Open, that President Macron had still not apologized to Eala, that France had done absolutely nothing to honor the player who had made their tournament famous, and now Italy, their biggest rival, had stolen the spotlight. A French senator tweeted, "France discovered Alexandra Eala. France gave her the platform to become a star, and now Italy is taking credit for her success. This is unacceptable." Another politician said, "Macron needs to call Eala today, not tomorrow, today, and he needs to congratulate her. Otherwise, France will look like fools." The debate took over French television. Talk shows argued for hours about whether France had mishandled the situation, whether Macron's silence had cost France a national hero, whether Italy had purposely timed the announcement to embarrass France. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, it was pure celebration. The news broke at 4 p.m. Manila time. Within 30 minutes, #Eala Academy was the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Within an hour, every major news network had interrupted regular programming to cover the story. The Philippine president issued an official statement. "Alexandra Eala continues to make the Philippines proud. Italy's recognition of her greatness is proof that the world is finally seeing what we have always known. She is not just a tennis player, she is a national treasure." Filipino celebrities posted congratulatory messages. Filipino businesses started calling Eala's agent with sponsorship offers. Travel agencies reported a massive spike in bookings to Rome for September when the academy was scheduled to open. Filipino fans started planning trips just to see the academy, to take photos in front of a building that bore their champion's name in a country that was not their own. That was the power of Alexandra Eala. She had turned a loss into a legacy.
Eala gave a long interview to the Italian newspaper Corriere della Sera 3 days after the announcement. The journalist asked her a direct question. "Alexandra, you lost the final. Why do you think Italy chose to honor you?" Eala thought for a moment. Then she answered, "Italy saw something in me that goes beyond winning or losing. They saw a fighter. They saw someone who never gave up, even when her body was breaking. I think Italy respects that more than trophies, because Italy knows that life is not always about winning. Sometimes life is about how you lose. And I lost with dignity. I lost with my head held high. I think that is what they honored." The journalist then asked about France. Eala paused for a long time. Her face changed. Not angry, just tired. She said, "I have nothing to say about France. What happened in Paris is in the past. I am focused on the future. And right now, the future looks very bright. Italy is my present. Italy is my future." That answer was diplomatic, but everyone understood what she was not saying. She was done with France. She had moved on, and France had been left behind.
The official inauguration of the Alexandra Eala Tennis Academy happened on September 15, 2026. It was a beautiful day in Rome. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. Hundreds of people gathered outside the academy gates: Italian officials, Philippine diplomats, tennis legends, local fans, and of course, Alexandra Eala. She walked to the podium wearing a simple white dress. Her hair was down. She was smiling, but her eyes were wet. She had been crying on and off all morning. She looked at her father in the crowd. He gave her that nod again, the same nod from the press conference. She took a deep breath and began her speech. She said, "When I was a little girl in Manila, I used to practice on public courts. Sometimes the courts were cracked. Sometimes the nets were torn. Sometimes there were no courts at all. But I never stopped dreaming. I dreamed of playing in big stadiums. I dreamed of hearing my name announced before a match. I never dreamed of this, an academy in Rome with my name on the gate. I never dreamed that a country not my own would honor me this way. Today, I am not just a Filipino champion. Today, I am also an Italian champion, because Italy has made me one of their own. And I promise you, I will spend the rest of my life trying to deserve this honor. Grazie. Salamat. Thank you." She stepped back from the microphone. The crowd erupted. They chanted her name. Eala, Eala, Eala. The sound echoed through the Roman streets. People who lived nearby came out of their apartments to see what was happening. They saw a sea of Italian and Philippine flags. They saw a young woman crying and laughing at the same time. They saw history being made. She cut the ribbon. The gates opened. The first students walked in. There were 20 of them, 10 Italians, 10 Filipinos, all on full scholarship. Eala had personally selected them, not based on their rankings, based on their stories. One girl had lost her mother to cancer. One boy had grown up in a refugee camp. One girl had been told she would never walk again after a car accident. Eala wanted players who had faced real adversity, players who knew what it meant to fight, because talent without struggle was hollow, and struggle without heart was meaningless. She wanted her academy to produce not just great tennis players, but great human beings. The first training session began. Eala herself stepped onto the court. She hit with each student. She showed them how to grip the racket, how to position their feet, how to breathe between points. She did not act like a superstar. She acted like a big sister. She high-fived them after good shots. She encouraged them after bad ones. She told them stories about her own failures, about the matches she lost, about the people who doubted her, about the times she wanted to quit. She told them, "The difference between you and me is not talent. The difference is that I never quit. No matter how many times I lost, no matter how many people told me I was not good enough, I never quit. And you cannot quit either, because the world needs more fighters, and you are fighters. Every single one of you." By the end of the day, Eala was exhausted. Her shirt was soaked with sweat. Her legs were sore, but her heart was full. She sat on a bench outside the academy, watching the sun set over Rome. Her father sat next to her. They did not speak for a long time. Then her father said, "Your mother would have been so proud." Eala's mother had passed away 3 years earlier. She had never seen Eala win a Grand Slam. She had never seen Eala become a star, but she had always believed. Eala leaned her head on her father's shoulder. She said, "I know, Papa. I know." And for the first time in months, she felt complete. Not because she had won a trophy, because she had found a home. The months after the academy opened were the best of Eala's life. She continued playing tennis. She won 2 more titles that year. She moved up to world number 5, but the academy was always on her mind. She visited whenever she could. She called the students between tournaments. She sent them video messages before their matches. She became their mentor, their friend, their inspiration. One of the students, a 14-year-old Filipina girl named Maria, won the Junior Italian Open 6 months after the academy opened. In her victory speech, she said, "I watched Alexandra Eala on television when I was young. She showed me that a girl from the Philippines could dream big. She showed me that loss is not the end. She showed me that heart matters more than trophies. Thank you, Ate Alexandra. This trophy is for you." Eala was in the crowd. She was crying again, but they were good tears, happy tears, tears of a legacy being built. France eventually apologized, quietly, privately. The French Tennis Federation sent Eala a letter. It was not a public apology. It was not a grand gesture. It was a simple letter that said, "We are sorry for how things happened. We respect you as a player and as a person. If you ever want to return to France, we would be honored to welcome you properly." Eala read the letter. She showed it to her father. Her father asked, "What will you do?" Eala folded the letter and put it in a drawer. She said, "Nothing. I've moved on. France had their chance. They chose politics over respect. Italy chose respect over politics, and I chose Italy." She never responded to the letter. She never mentioned it publicly. She simply closed that chapter of her life and never looked back. Macron never apologized directly. His advisors tried to convince him. They said it would be good for France's image. They said it would heal the rift with the Philippines. They said it would show humility. Macron refused. He gave a short statement months later saying, "France welcomes all players equally. There was no bias, there was no controversy, just a match." That was his final word on the subject. The French public was divided. Some praised him for standing firm. Others called him stubborn and foolish. But Eala did not care anymore. Macron was irrelevant to her journey. He was a footnote in her story, a small obstacle that she had long since overcome. Today, the Alexandra Eala Tennis Academy is one of the most respected tennis training centers in Europe. Young players from all over the world come to Rome to train there. They come for the clay courts, they come for the coaching, but mostly they come for the story. They come to walk the same halls that Eala walked, to stand on the same courts where she stood, to feel the same energy that she felt. Because Eala is not just a tennis player anymore, she is a legend, and legends never die. They live on in the people they inspire, in the buildings that carry their names, in the hearts of those who refuse to give up. Alexandra Eala lost the Italian Open final, but she won something that no trophy can measure. She won respect, she won love, she won a home. And in the end, that is the only victory that truly matters.